Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Every Wednesday on the Low Blows Network, the Low Blows team are at hand to break down, analyze, and make fun of all things pro wrestling. Hosted by former pro wrestler Rick Nash. I think the only reasonable thing we can do now is turn John Cena heel.
Selfie with me fucking Dogg.
Banned from Nigeria. I will be talking to the government tomorrow morning. YouTube star Corporate King.
This elephant has 4 legs. Joe Russell's 4 legs. Joseph Stalin, if he had 2 more legs.
Bonesaw rips off his shirt, yeah, and it says, "Chuck your law, big dirty tricorn."
And the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Harvey.
I won't want to sign just CM Punk.
So embarrassed. CM Punk.
It's Low Blows.
Maroon 5 upset and confused pretty much everyone on Sunday night at the Super Bowl halftime show as they teased a SpongeBob SquarePants performance that had been petitioned online, a performance of Sweet Victory, which is popular with SpongeBob fans, of course, and then had a cameo at the start from SpongeBob. The whole set opened with just a random clip of SpongeBob, and then they didn't perform the song. So if you would petition for it, you're like, oh yeah, we're getting it. And then you didn't get the thing you petitioned for. And then if you didn't know about the petition or get the reference, you're just totally confused. Why is SpongeBob here? Because they didn't explain it. There was no reason. So nobody was happy. But to get us kicked off on another week of Low Blows, Rick Nash and Corporate Keen here, Katie Harvey still recovering from having 16 broken limbs or whatever is going on there. Cian, what is the biggest unfulfilled tease that you can recall in wrestling history?
It's just a small one, but do you remember when Roman Reigns and the League of Nations were fighting, yeah?
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt very briefly teamed with Reigns, and he was getting cheered, and they were both getting cheered as a team, and it was really fucking cool, and they were spearing and Sister Abigail and people, and I think Bray got injured, or Roman got injured, or someone got injured, and they just never went forward with anything after that.
Bray Wyatt as a whole could be the answer to this question, because it's like, something really cool is going to happen, and they just never got around to it. Do you remember the time he got in the ring with Triple H and just touched the WWE Championship?
No.
Do you not remember that?
No.
Jada remember it.
But,
he literally got in and he touched the WWE Championship, and then everyone's like, he wants the belt now, and then just nothing ever came.
I do remember that actually, yeah. That was actually the Rumble.
It was a babyface thing, and it was
yeah.
oh shit, something's gonna happen, but it never did.
I want to see Bray Wyatt come back as a dead serious redemption type thing, where he's I need to kill the monster that I've created and then fight Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. This WWE, if you're listening, just hire me, please.
There you go, right out of the gate with the fantasy booking. I think I spoke about my answer before on the show. It's related to. Have you ever heard of the Black Scorpion? It's a famously bad WCW storyline.
Is Sting related?
It is a little bit. I'll get into it for anyone who hasn't heard it before. So basically, this was on old WCW television. I think it was 1990. Sting started getting these mystery messages from a shadow figure of his past. Originally, it was supposed to be Ole Anderson, but every week they come on TV and they just be their voice would be distorted, and it'd be like, Sting, remember me from the beach in Daytona in 1982? I'm coming back for you. And then, apparently it was supposed to be Ole Anderson in the beginning. Then it cycled through around 6 different people because they started the storyline without an end in sight. They're just we need an opponent for, I think it was War Games. We need an opponent for, or Starrcade actually it was, for Starrcade, for Sting. And then eventually in the end, it was just Ric Flair, who, again, Ric Flair, possibly the most famous wrestler in the world. So it's all of this, all of these clues that you've given, we know about them. You know what I mean? It's like, remember me in this. And Sting would know as well if it's like, oh, it's my greatest enemy, Ric Flair. It's
of course.
It's exactly who I expected it to be. Like,
it'd be like in 2019, like Seth Rollins getting loaded like spooky messages and turned out to be Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like a fucking Tom started getting a load of spooky messages, and Jerry ended up saying, "Oh, it's me." Like, oh well, I could have called that as well. You got to consider this. Like, they had this big deep voice where it's like, "Oh, hey, I'm the Black Scorpion, Ric Flair." One of the most distinct voices as well, has a lisp. It was just awful, and they never made reference to it. They're like, oh, the Black Scorpion's Ric Flair. Anyway, Ric Flair and Sting are fighting. That was it. They never made mention of it again. It was awful. And it was actually like, for the time, it was a pretty decent angle. It was like, oh, I'm getting into it. Like, it's shit and hokey, but it's like, they obviously have something in mind. They did not. Anyway, guys, busy week on Low Blows. We're going to be talking about, there was a lot of Irish wrestling this weekend, so we're going to be discussing that. Twists and turns. Corporate Keane seems angry. And if you, it's going to be, if you're into your Irish wrestling here, this might be the show for you. But we're going to be talking about Raw, SmackDown, and the rest of the week. Keane's also talking about CZW, got all that to come, and more. So, stay tuned for that. But first, we're going to get kicked off with the news from the week. Slow news week, we have to say, this week. So, we're relating it more to, sometimes when we get to the hot takes, we'll talk about what's been annoying us on Twitter and whatnot. So we're going to get to that now. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
Hot Takes.
We were talking about I have to bring it up on air. We were talking about the first thing we're going to talk about. Said something funny that happened in it. I keep after slamming his head full force into the wall. Yeah, hot takes. Alright, serious. I have to get angry here. It is something that can make me angry quite easily, though, because I want to talk about something that anyone following Irish wrestling Twitter will know about. At the weekend, after OTT Belfast, which seems like a great show, it's one of those shows where everyone's coming back and you see the wrestlers coming out of these shows. Like, if you're not there, you're kind of like trying to get a litmus test how to go. Do people talk about it much or not a lot? But then, like, everyone's like, it's just one of these days where I remember why I love the business that I'm in. This is the life I chose. So it's like, the show went well. Everyone's buzzing. They're happy. And then there was one tweet. I won't shame the person by naming them. I will shame them in every other aspect, but I won't shame them by naming them. One person decided to tweet out something, and I won't even get into who they were talking about or whatever. There's no need, but he tweeted out about saying that one of the women on the show was fat and jumping on to two of the other girls, and it did not go well for him. Pretty much the entirety of Irish wrestling Twitter jumped on him, rightfully so. And I don't know, it's weird because I think we've had that moment in Dublin before, but maybe they hadn't had it in Belfast. I think, do you remember the Get Your Tits Out stuff was going on a few years ago?
Yeah.
I think everyone was kind of like, right, everyone cop on, like, and then the people who did it were shamed into shutting their mouths. But I think maybe in Belfast, there may have been more tolerance for this. And I'm seeing some like bitchy tweets about the crowd as well. Now, I've been up to Belfast for PWU, always great crowds there. I know you've been for OTT before. Haven't heard many bad stories before, so maybe this was just a crowd with a few bad eggs. But people were giving out about them counting one step ahead of the referee and stuff like that.
I don't think that's a Belfast thing. I've seen that kind of...
It's done, yeah.
Like,
well, look, I'm not trying to talk about the troubles or anything.
Why do you hate Belfast?
I'm not trying to get...
Rick Nash hates Belfast.
I'm not we're not talking about segregation or anything like that, sectarianism or anything like that. We don't want to get into it, or car bombs or, the trouble, the IRA, the unionists. We don't want to talk about any of that, okay? So I'm not saying it's a Belfast problem. It's literally one guy tweeted this shit out. And this shit is fucking ridiculous, like, especially when you go onto his page. Again, I won't, if you've seen the tweet, you've probably had a look at his page to be like, who is this person judging the looks and grading and pointing themselves to grade the looks of the Irish wrestling women's scene? Not a looker. Also, doesn't appear, and if you're listening to this right now, I'll name you. Your name's Mickey. I won't tell your Twitter handle. Mickey, by the way, another name for Mickey that people use is the word knob, which is apt in this case. Mickey, you know, in the 4 pictures you have up where you're like doing the catfish pose, let's call a spade. They're selfies, but you're right up on the camera there. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You're not the best person to judge. And in general, when I find these wrestling fans who are online or in person, like, shouting out these chants, usually aren't the type of people that, you know, the women of Irish wrestling would be like, I really want to impress him, you know what I mean? I really hope that guy fancies me. And Mickey's true to that stereotype. All of his tweets, by the way, and if you're feeling self-conscious listening to this, Mickey, by the way, this is what it's like. This is what it's like to feel judged and to have someone judge you entirely without knowing you at all, which is what you've done to another person. So I feel it's fair game because it's just turnabout is fair play in this instant. All of his tweets, by the way, I had a look through his Twitter.
Yeah.
90% of his tweets are like to Carmella, like, looking good, baby. Actually, do you know what? Let's go on to his Twitter and let's read out some of the tweets. Now, again, I have them here. Nikki Cross, I want to play. Natalia, I need to go like on Facebook. Neve Palmer, nice dress. Lara Duncan, yeah, it's too cold. Slick, man. Valkyrie, hit Tom, so many haters. Hope I see you, son. Smiley face wave. Hug emoji. Is that a hug emoji? I think that's what it is.
All right, let me just see this real quick. Your Twitter is not in dark mode.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Which is strange. I am the worst person for translating emojis. So I'm actually the worst person to ask for that, unfortunately. Sorry, everyone. I can't help it.
It goes on like this. Also, as well, I'd like to point out, it's not limited to just, like, the women of wrestling. Peter Crouch gets a lot of mentions in here.
Peter Crouch is...
He's a good lad. I'm not saying.
He's someone I'd expect to be, you know...
But, like, I'm just saying, and I don't mean to, like, I do mean to single you out. That's the entire purpose of this, because what you've done is you've singled a normal person out, because that's the point. That's the message we're trying to convey here. Wrestlers equal just normal people. They're normal people doing their job, and they're normal people. Now, some people will criticize wrestlers, and they'll be like, but they have all these Twitter followers, and they must be millionaires because of that. Nope. You know, I think in WWE, where you have like 5 million followers or whatnot, you know, to a certain degree they are compensated for giving up their private life, giving up their public image. They will receive stuff like that. Independent, smaller wrestlers, even the bigger ones, are... They're normal people. They're earning a normal wage. They're probably earning less than a normal wage because they've given up like whatever jobs they have to do because they want to wrestle, and that's the goal, to make it full time. They are not subject to your opinions on Twitter. Like, you can have an opinion on a match if you paid for it. You can have an opinion on a show if you've paid for it. That's perfectly fine and valid. No one will ever hold that against you. Well, some people might, but if they do, they're wrong. But in this case, if it's objectifying or if it's having a go at and this applies just as valid to if a woman was doing it to a male performer. This isn't just a man doing it to a woman. Unfortunately, though, it tends to go that way 90% of the time. 99, let's call it straight. But like I'm saying, you do not have a right to objectify. You do not have a right to slag. And Mickey, when you look like you do, you don't have a right to call anyone fat, because so are you, mate. Just saying. Anyway.
So, Alexander Dean, for those of you who aren't familiar, he's unhappy with with the match that he was given.
Do we have to go here? Do we really?
Well, I mean, he put it on Twitter, didn't he?
Really awkward, though.
I mean...
This is too real. The hot takes are too real this week.
Well, it is what it is, right? He's not happy with his match with Luther Valentine. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, aren't familiar, what am I talking about? Let me try that again. He's not happy with his match against Luther Valentine, and he's gone to Twitter to express his displeasure. And following this, he said, you know, if you want to establish a top brand, you put your top guys against top imports. Dean, what is your definition of a top guy? Is a top guy someone who wasn't booked in the first show, lost to Tucker on the second show, got disqualified in the third show, and still hasn't won a match? Is that a top guy? And I know, I read through all of these tweets, and he's like, oh, where's Lucky Kid? Lucky Kid's buried in the mid-card tag match. Lucky Kid is mixing it up in the ring with the future of Irish wrestling.
Yeah.
You are not the future of Irish wrestling. You come from an era of community centres, gat halls, and the ladies' hero David Zero.
Oh, hey, I'm not here about run set against the ladies' hero David Zero.
If you want us to rob the future of Irish wrestling from a match with Lucky Kid for you have to earn it. You haven't won a single match yet. You ask where's Avalanche. Avalanche is in a match against Tucker, the man who beat you in your Courage debut. Where's Bobby Guns? Bobby Guns is doing an open challenge. You are just as valid. You are able to answer that if you want. Nobody's stopping you from answering that. You can do double duty if you want. But the fact is, he doesn't want it, does he? Alexander Dean, he wants to claim to be the best, but he doesn't want to actually have to put in the work and earn that title. He's complaining about his match against Luther, calling it a mid-card snooze fest. That's what he is in Courage so far. He's a mid-card snooze fest. You know what I mean? You've two options here. You have two options, right? You can take off Luther Valentine's head with your bare hands, put it on a spike, and hang it up outside the button factory so that everybody leaving can see it on the way out, make your statement, and earn your way to the main event spot. Or you can go back to Twitter, complain about being the best, and claim that you should be the top of Courage because you're friends with Pac. Alright?
He did actually say that.
Either way, I'll see you Sunday, February 23rd, along with everyone that's listening. I hope so.
Saturday.
Oh, bollocks. Oh, I ruined everything. That's everything fucking
You're doing
ruined.
so well.
I was doing so well. I was on fire there. And, Saturday, February 23rd, Button Factory, Town. See you there.
Jesus. Okay. I did not know we were bringing All right. Do you have a plan B in case I decide to retape afterwards? Or is that that's your only hot take you're offering?
My other hot take was pretty boring, I gotta be honest. I needed something. I'm actually glad he tweeted that out, so I had something to talk about.
Good content. Good for the hit.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Okay. Guys, we said before, me and Cian aren't part of the show. Encourage.
We're not fighting or anything.
We're booking it. We're not involved in any of the storylines. We're not doing anything. This did happen today. I know that Alexander Dean, and this is shit because now we have to talk about it. We're on our show and it's after happening today, so we do have to bring it up. I just wasn't planning to. I was just going to let it escape by. Okay, fair enough. Alexander Dean did kind of go rogue and tweet. He said a lot of stuff. Cian has covered it all. I ended up getting into a bit of a back and forth with him on it, and you can go check out Twitter if you want to see it. It's all like, this is part of booking. You'll get these things where lads will feel that, they need to test your boundaries. They need to push for a spot. Alexander Dean, the politic and time bomb, more than a gimmick. But like, I go way back with Alexander Dean. He was the first guy to teach me how to do a lockup years back. We'll probably be mates again in a couple of weeks and have this all put behind us. Maybe not after Cian brought it up in the podcast. That's going to be a bit tense now for a while, I'd say. Probably a few months. But look, I did take issue. Like, it's not the way to handle it, like going on Twitter and tweeting about the bookers, because like people are either going to be, that's a work, because everything in wrestling is like, well, it's obviously a work, but then like we're not going to get involved, and we're not, and I'm telling you that now, like, this is not a thing where I'm going to do a run in his match. I will tell you that for 100% certain. It's not. I
don't think you're going to need to. I think Luther's going to beat him. In all honesty, I think Luther could beat him.
But to me, I felt bad for Luther because, Luther is someone who has done maybe what Alexander Dean hasn't done, and Alexander Dean complaining a bit on Twitter about his match, but at the same time, as you say, like has had matches and has had opportunities to prove himself, and he's 0-2. Maybe not the record of a top guy, whereas Luther previously put in tag matches and given kind of a lower card status where he's kind of the comic relief and whatnot, has absolutely killed it. So yes, we do reward people who kill it on shows, and that is the reward. Luther's getting a match against one of the most experienced in Ireland today, Alexander Dean. So this is what I'll always say to lads. Like, and again, this is more behind the scenes stuff. It's like we'll like, the way I like to work when we're booking is I'll give lads rope, and they can either use that rope to climb or they can use that rope to hang themselves. Today was not a good day for Dean and Rope. But Luther's taking that rope. It actually has me a bit intrigued for this match, because it's like, it is actually a dichotomy, and it's after underpinning a storyline that we're like, I hadn't thought of that. But as well, I do understand the frustration. I've been there myself where I'm like, it's bullshit. Fortunately, when I had those thoughts, we didn't have Twitter where we could just tweet, and then you're stuck in that. I'm not going to hold it.
Rick used to write handwritten letters over to the Irish Whip office. Anonymous,
like letters. But I do it like a ransom note where I'd paste the things from newspapers. But then I'd sign it for some reason, like we just gave it all away. But no, it's like, again, I appreciate the passion. I appreciate wanting more, but just show it. And this is an opportunity. It's not the end of the world. Alexander Dean will still be on the show. That match will still happen. You know, we're not going to just, like, as well, like, we'll be open and transparent as we are with all things. We're not going to just have him lose in, like, a minute or anything like that. You're not going to see anything like that. There's not going to be bollocks. So,
well, he might.
Yeah, well, okay, well. Yeah.
He might. Just saying.
I'll leave that. All right. Well, I have to explain a few things to you before we get to this show, okay? But, yeah, it happened. As you can tell, I'm a bit awkward about it. I don't really know how to address it.
That's why I brought it up. It's funny. It's funny seeing you squirm.
Because this is me that's dealing with it. You just get to fucking sit back.
I get to cut a promo and then you're just there like fucking...
You just get to sit back and book the whole show, and then I'm like the guy who has to deliver the messages and get given out to by these lads. Fuck's sake. Courage, Button Factory, February 23rd. What's going to happen after today? We don't know. Spanner in the works, but you're fucking, this is wrestling, and it's all fun and all a part of it. Check it out. Anyway, guys, look, we're going to talk about the good and the bad from the in-ring this week. Starting with the bad, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for...
Say something stupid.
Worst of the week. In at number 5, New Japan is dying. And you may not have expected to hear that from me, Mr. New Japan, on the show.
I forgot to watch it. Shit.
But it's dying. And you know how I know it's dying? Suzuki wrestled Sonata. And you know when, like, things change, because there's a lot of change going on in New Japan. You know, the Young Bucks might be gone, Kenny Omega might be gone, Cody might be gone, with all the AEW talk. We don't know how that's going to pan out. Like, I think what's going to happen is New Japan are going to stay loyal to Ring of Honor through the Madison Square Garden show, and then they'll start to ease the AEW people back in. I don't think any of the lads are done. But now it's in a weird state of flux where we're like, is Ibushi still around? Is that still a thing? Are you losing half the card for Wrestle Kingdom next year that we're looking for? Like, what's going to happen? And then, you know, when, like, your mate starts changing, when they do really well, like they get a new job or this or that, you don't see them for a while. And then, like, New Japan, they've been expanding to America, they're getting bigger and bigger, and they're like, we can take it if Kenny Omega leaves. And then, like, they change. Like, they get a new haircut, or they get new clothes. They start wearing, like, long jackets or something like that. And you're just
saying words like swell and stuff.
Yeah. That's the way it felt on Saturday morning when I'm watching Suzuki against Sonata. Really good match, by the way. I've nothing wrong with the match. But they're just different. We talked about Sonata's beard on here before. And it's not a beard. It's an upside-down haircut. Is what it is. He has a spiky haircut on his chin. And it's fucking weird. And I'm not okay with it, right? Because Sonata had a really cool look. And then it's just like, why are you doing extra? Like, why have you let your hair grow out that long and around your face? Like, it's not a beard. It's just weird. And then Suzuki, do you know what hair? He's after getting a haircut. Suzuki, by the way, one of the people with the most iconic haircuts in wrestling ever. And I'm a believer, if it ain't broke, there is no need whatsoever to fix it. I do appreciate Suzuki kind of doing a bit of a Jericho probably, and being like, I'll keep it fresh, you know, keep it interesting, like keep a new look. But he's got that haircut. Do you remember, like, 4 years ago, in Ireland where like the big thing was to shave the middle of your head, but like keep it all the way down. You didn't shave the middle of your head.
There we go.
You shave the two sides,
and then you have a big like comb over type thing.
Yeah, you have the little faux hawk there in the middle with just like a thinly shaved head, but it goes all the way down. Do you know what I mean? Like my hair has shaved at the sides, but it shaves all the way around. It's back and sides. They just shave the sides. They don't shave the back.
Was that a thing?
It was like the teenage haircut for a while. You should know this.
That's what I mean. I don't remember that.
You are a teenager, pretty much.
No, I remember because I'm thinking of like when I was in like TY and stuff, and it was like they'd have it shaved. It was like the sides would be shaved and like the top, but it was like slicked back. It was like fucking like Elvis kind of almost, but like with shaved sides.
Are you talking the Mad Men haircut?
I don't know. What
that is. That was fashionable for a while. It's not anymore, but I like it, so I'll keep it. But no, that's what like. No, it's the one where it's just like one huge mohawk that goes all the way back. Except it's not a mohawk. It's just a flat hair. It's like a buzz cut, but it goes all the way back.
I'm picturing a mullet.
It kind of is a mullet. If it was longer, it'd be a mullet, but it's shaved tight. You know what I mean? And then the sides are shaved. He looks like he's going for a 14-year-old haircut. And Suzuki is a Japanese man in his 50s. It's unbecoming and it's not right. And I'm like, this is changing, man. I'm not okay with any of this. Like, they changed his music as well, like. And it's not, they still have Kazi Nina right. Now, they did this a few months ago, like, so it's not new news. But just, like, everything's changing and I don't like it, like. Now, to counterbalance that, they still have Okada and Tanahashi. They're, like, the main event now. So, like, you know, they're kind of going backwards in a way as well. And it's just different. And I'm not even saying that all of this is wrong. I'm just saying it's different. And I'm not comfortable with it. You know when wrestling's different and it's like they're throwing out new matches and stuff like that? It's like, no, we've just lost a lot of wrestlers and you're just defaulting back to old matches. It's like, want to see LIJ against Suzuki Gun for a whole fucking show? Not really, because that's been the last 6 months of minor shows you've been doing. It's just weird, and I'm not happy with it, and I'm worried. As a big New Japan fan, I'm really worried. Anyway, moving on. Number 4, a promotion you've fought for in the past, and are now similar to me in New Japan, kind of a bit like, is this still what it was? CZW.
No, this is actually something I really like. But you know when you like something, but you can't put it in This Is Awesome?
Yeah,
it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
This isn't even a CCW thing. This could be anywhere, but CCW do a lot of death matches, so I'm just slapping it on that promotion. It's when there's a death match and there's broken glass everywhere, blood everywhere, barbed wire, light tubes, smashed all over the place, dead prostitutes in the ring, everything just...
They're really dead prostitutes.
Everything is scattered all around the ring and sharp objects left, right and centre. And a wrestler goes to cover the other one, he goes for the pin, and then you look at the ref and the ref's just like, oh fuck. And normally they do have gloves, but even still, there's so many sharp objects and so much blood and disgusting shit everywhere. And the ref's not like, they didn't sign up to be, you know, like, they didn't, yeah. And they're just like, 1, 2. So just timidly rubbing, like barely touching the mat. It's fucking beautiful. It's like just seeing them try. Obviously, they want to do it, but it's like, I mean, did they expect to really, you know, get their hand cut wide open to bits, like just from doing refereeing? I don't know.
They would have charged extra if they knew that was part of it. Like, yeah.
I don't know, I just find it funny and it's entertaining, but it's not really entertaining enough to put in This Is Awesome, so I'll put it in This Tastes Stupid.
It's not actually awesome.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, moving on, in at number 3, talk to me about what's going on with Impact.
Right, so there's a storyline with the babyface hero, Rich Swann, and the bad, evil villain, Sami Callihan, right? And so for those of you who don't know, Sami Callihan's in a faction. It's him and OVE. That's Jake and Dave Christ. And he's trying to recruit Rich Swann. He's like, Rich Swann, I want you to join OVE. And he's like, I gave you everything. I gave you absolutely everything. You had nothing. I'm the one who took you under my wing. And all I want is for you to join join OVE. And Swann, he's like, no. And then you'd expect to be like, okay, so obviously, like, Sammy's obviously talking shit. He obviously didn't do all that sort of stuff. But this week there was a video package that explained everything. Rich Swann, when he had nothing, no parents, he might have been homeless, I don't know, but he was in a bad way, he had nothing. Sami Callihan came in, took him under his wing, and basically treated Rich like a brother of his. Like, turned his life all the way around. Through pro wrestling, Rich Swann is where he is because of Sami Callihan. And that's what turns out. He's like, yeah, that's all true. But I'm not joining Sami Callihan's faction because Sami Callihan's selfish. He takes the good that you have and uses it for himself. And you want me to join OVE? You want me to be the third guy to watch your back? That's not family. It's like, well, all right. So he turned your life all the way around, yeah? He like took you under his wing, and he saved your life essentially. And all he wants in return is for you to like wear a jacket and join his faction, just hang out with him at shows. And you're refusing to do that. And that makes you the good guy somehow? Okay. Like, I'm just being honest here. Like, I'm with Sammy on this one. I think Rich One's being a bit of a dick. Like,
I don't know. I don't think, like, okay, yeah, you do owe someone who saved your life, but it's like, come hang out with my stable and let's beat up randomers and the jacks.
But he doesn't have to. He can just stand there and watch. He can, like, if Sammy said to Rich Swan, lie down and give me your X Division title, then I'd be like, no, don't do that. You know what I mean? If you want to win it. But, like, all he's saying is, just join the club. It's like, all right, you know what I mean? I'll join it.
I like how you are so pro wrestling focused that you're like, you put title belts ahead of morals. It's like, you know what? No, you can beat up someone in the jacks, but you wouldn't lay down for a title belt.
Well, no, because the title it's everything. You know what I mean? It's a symbol of greatness. That's the whole point of a title. And Rich Swann earned it. He won it fair and square at the last show, Homecoming. And it'd be shit if Sammy was to take that. But if Rich Swann had to defend it against OVE, I mean that's fair enough. It's a fair match. I just think Rich Swann's being way too harsh here. He's being way too selfish. You can still be the champion, still be a successful wrestler with an OVE top on you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
At the end of the day, you're just paying Sammy back. That's all you're doing.
Fair enough. I feel like we've learned a lot about you in that as well, like in your moral compass. That's interesting. Anyway, number 2, let's talk about Raw. There's a few bits from this. There's like, for a start, do you know when WWE makes it funny? This will always be on Say Something Stupid. As long as there is a Say Something Stupid, when WWE do this, we're going to call them out for it. Do you know when they make it funny or they make a creative booking decision that's out of the blue, and then like 3 weeks later you're like, oh, you're still doing the exact same thing every week on Raw. Jeff Jarrett's still around, and the Road Dogg is around now as well. And now they come out, and this isn't even like the funny that they did at the Royal Rumble, because that was actually pretty good. This is relating to the cringy thing that they did at the Hall of Fame last year when they sang With My Baby Tonight, and the crowd just kind of meekly like pretended to be happy, but like it went on for like 4 or 5 minutes, and the novelty was gone after 30 seconds, because really it's just a reference to like something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, like, so it's like so now this is what they're doing, and like every week they're rolling them out and they're having them do this base feud with Elias, where it's like somehow a lot of the time they end up getting one over on them, and it's like, okay, lads, like the novelty was great at the Royal Rumble, but now it's not novel anymore. It's not good, and they're advertising this shit for Raw as well. They're saying like, watch Raw because we're gonna have Jeff Jarrett back. No, no one is doing that. Like, again, lead with the Stephanie Becky stuff. Like, that's what people want to see. Not fucking Jeff Jarrett and Elias. The moment's over. Let it die, guys. Let Jeff Jarrett die once and for all. Also, another weird thing they do. They did a little thing that I don't like. They did a moment of bliss, and a tiny thing before we get to the main thing. First off, they had EC3 on it. And then Alexa is in the chair. Now, Alexa is one of their best built characters. This is why she's getting her own talk show. Like, even when she's not in the title scene, WWE have to keep her in a prominent position on the show because they've done so well with her, building her up as a character. And then all of a sudden, as she's doing the intro, she's like, I can't wait for this moment. It's going to be a guy who looks really good. And then she introduces EC3, and he comes out, and she's like, ooh, well, you're obviously very handsome. And it's just like, what? You built Alexa this strong, like, she's a bit of a bitch. Yeah, okay, she can be bitchy at times. She can do the wrong thing, but she's a strong kind of woman who doesn't, like, rely on, like, I have a crush on you. And then, like, Nia comes out to interrupt it. And that was actually kind of good as well. I do like the way Nia's leaning into her heel role. I think she's doing some good work. No doubt she'll be back on Say Something Stupid when she fucks someone up in the next few weeks because she can't keep a good thing going for that long. But right now it's good. She comes out and she's owning it, and she's like, no one cares about this, blah, blah, blah. Then Ambrose comes out and interrupts because he's feuding with Nia now for some reason. And then Ambrose was like, I know what's going on. Nia, you have a crush on me. And it's just like, why is, like... Why is this what you're doing, lads? You've got women main event at WrestleMania, and people are really into it. Like, this is like you could get to Rock Austin levels with Becky and Ronda, like, because this is a really strong start we've had to this feud. Like, why are you using these other strong women that, like, fill up your undercard and will be, like, presumably the challengers for whoever wins Becky Ronda? Like, why are you having them be like, tee boys?
I'm just laughing because it sounds like a fanfic. It's so random. Like, EC3 and Alexa, and then Dean Ambrose comes out and he's like, no, Nia, you fancy me.
Exactly. And yeah, it's just the wrestlers involved that are so random that it's like some real obscure fantasy that you'd only find in a fanfic. Ever wonder what would happen if Dean Ambrose hooked up with Nia? No. But clearly you did, Vince McMahon. But this is what gets me as well. They have a gimmick with EC3 where he hasn't spoken yet. Like, people are walking by him. And I didn't notice this until they made it a thing this week. But when they said it, I'm like, oh yeah, people have been walking by him like in backstage and he's just posing in front of a mirror or just pointing randomly at people. But he hasn't actually said anything on the mic yet. And I'm like, okay, that's random. Like, he's one of the best talkers in wrestling. But, like, maybe you're doing the Chris Jericho thing where, do you remember Jericho came back and didn't talk for ages? Maybe that's where they're going with this. That was interesting, whatever. But then he gets in the ring and wrestles Dean Ambrose in a match. And then, like, while he's in the ring and there's no mic in it, he's like, ah! He's not only talking, but he's yelling. It's like, did you forget that you were doing the not talking thing? Like, what the fuck is going on? Raw wasn't awful this week. It wasn't WrestleMania levels. There was, like, some good bits. Like, Balor against Leo Rush, go out of your way to watch it. Because it's exactly what you want that match to be. They just let the lads basically work a cruiserweight style match. So there was some good bits on Raw, but there were some very odd bits, especially as we're, like, if this happened in September when the NFL is killing you for Monday Night Football, grand. But we're in WrestleMania season, lads. Maybe not make it about Jeff Jarrett and I have a crush on you. Maybe not. Let's not do that. Anyway, in at number 1, let's talk about something controversially from Phoenix, your home promotion.
I don't even want to talk about it. I feel sick. I feel fucking sick even thinking about it. Right, so there was a match. It was the Armstrongs versus Rough Stuff, right? Good match. Armstrongs were 0-4 against Rough Stuff. They really wanted to get this win, and the crowd really wanted them to get this win as well. Like, this was really exciting to watch, and eventually they did it. They got the win, and it was amazing. Marion Armstrong, he was down. He was on the outside, I think, and Butch essentially, like, fought off Rough Stuff on his own and got the win for the team, and it was amazing. And the Armstrongs were celebrating, the fans were celebrating, I was celebrating on commentary, I was buzzing, I was loving it. Tony wasn't, but fine, whatever. And then out comes our best pal, Alexander Dean. He
hate that guy.
Walks
just this week.
walks out to the curtain, and he's just standing there doing nothing. Marion kind of walks over to the corner that's facing the curtain, and he's like, you know, what's this about? You know, why the fuck are you here? And out of nowhere, Butch Armstrong attacks Marion. And one of my favourite Irish tag teams are dead. And I fucking hate it. I hate it so much.
Was it emotional on commentary having to call this?
It was more shocking. Do you know what I mean? The emotions really set in afterwards.
Right.
But it was, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is just, no, like, why? You know what I mean? Like, Butch, like, what the fuck are you doing? I never want to see that cunt again. I swear to God, like, I'm a mixture of sadness, shock, and just anger. Like, I don't even want to see him. Even saying the name Butch Armstrong makes me sick. I always knew Butch from OTT was the best Butch in Irish wrestling.
That's what I was going to say. Does it even feel bittersweet when you see Butch OTT? You just reminded me. Just reminded me of the word Butch.
It just hurts, and I hate it. And part of me is like, oh yeah, I hope Marion beats the shit out of Butch, but I'm like, but I don't want to see them fight. I want to see them not fight. I want to see them be friends and be a tag team and fucking kill it like they've always done. And I mean, they're one of the big reasons that I got into fucking wrestling down in that part of the country. Do you know what I mean? And now it's just sick. It's horrible. You know what I mean? And what's Butch gonna do now? Team with Alexander Dean? You know what I mean? Like, why? I mean, he doesn't love you. Just saying, Marion loved you. You know what I mean? He's for like family. And
they're the Armstrongs.
Oh yeah, they were family. Like, literally, they're family. But yeah, it just makes me sick. That's all I'm saying.
Look, like we said just there, they're the Armstrongs. They're family. maybe one day they may be able to. You see that happen a lot. The Hardy Boys broke up a few times. Edge and Christian, well, are they brothers? Aren't they? I think they were at one stage, but they're not.
No, they are.
Yeah, but I don't think they are.
Yeah, they are, though.
I think they were best friends when they were in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. But anyway, either way,
that's the point, yeah.
This stuff can happen, and maybe one day we can get a reunion. But interesting, at the very least, ballsy, like, from Phoenix to make that move, like, to go ahead without the Armstrongs. Like, it's a ballsy move. I'm definitely more intrigued. Because now I'm like, I need to know what's going to happen. But it is sad. I do get that. Because it's like, the Armstrongs are, like... And it feels like, especially down here, we'd only kind of got a taste of them. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't get the love that they deserved, I feel, up here. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But then again... That's the best time for attacking to split up, though, is when you want more.
Yeah.
Like, remember when the Shield split up and everyone was like, it's too soon?
Yeah, and, like, I do like the prospect of them as single wrestlers, because I do get the feeling they're, like, well, I know, I know they're both creative, and I know they're both, like, funny and entertaining in their own right, so it'll be interesting. I do want to see what they do as singles competitors, but, yeah, it's...
Butch will... never make me laugh again. But if you do want to see them as singles competitors, the next show is the 17th of March, Paddy's Day, down in Limerick in Dolan's Warehouse, and it's going to be deadly.
Nice.
Steve Savage is going to be there.
Oh, well, then I'm in.
I mean, like, if you're from Limerick, that is literally like saying John Cena's going to be there, or like... Do you know what I mean? The Rock's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's like Steve Savage is there, like Messiah. So I'm buzzing to go down and see that.
Joe Dolan in Westmeath.
Yeah.
There you go. That's Steve Savage.
Or Two Unlimited in Westmeath. No, wait, I was trying to think of wrestlers. I couldn't think of any Westmeath wrestlers.
Anyway, guys, check that out. Phoenix. Well worth a look. That's interesting. Anyway, move on to the good from week, because it's time for... Best of the week. Let's get a bit more optimistic. Cian is getting depressed there, thinking about the Armstrongs and how you'll never see them tag again. That's it, forever. In number 5, let's talk about MLW. NLW have Justy in the title match next month, but that's not what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss MLW.
Well, so they basically, they had MLW Super Fight this past week. Pay-per-view, big show. I won't talk about the main event, Filthy Tom Lawler versus Low-Key, because it hurt my feelings. But I will talk about the other match.
Why would it hurt your feelings?
Because I'm a massive Low-Key fan.
Right.
And I like Filthy Tom Lawler, but Low-Key hadn't lost in MLW history. 14 years, didn't lose once. So it was predictable, but it still hurt.
Right, fair enough.
I don't know. But anyway, there was a tag match.
Yes.
A tag title match. The Lucha Bros against the Hart Foundation. And I keep forgetting. Does this happen to you where you're like, did I mention this on the podcast before, or was it off air to someone else entirely different?
I've never heard this, so no, I don't know.
Okay, so are you familiar with my love for Teddy Hart?
You've talked about Teddy Hart,
okay.
yeah. I don't know on the podcast, but you have talked about him in private.
I fucking love Teddy
Mainly,
Hart.
can we get him for Courage?
Oh yeah, that might have been off air actually. He is genuinely, like, very quickly becoming one of my favourite wrestlers. I fucking love Teddy Hart. And I like the Lucha Bros too, don't get me wrong, but I feel MLW is the Hart Foundation's fucking territory. Do you know what I mean? It's not just Teddy Hart, it's Teddy Hart, the Muscle, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and then Brian Pillman Jr. as well. He's
nice.
Yeah, he's part of the gang as well.
Oh, class.
It is. Like, cause remember they did, like, I wasn't really watching wrestling at this time, but, like, did they do, like, the Hart Dynasty or something in WWE? Or,
yeah.
Like, was that, like...
Natalia and TJ
did
all
it amount
that,
to much? Was it, like...
No, I think the highlight they had was beating down Vince McMahon and that terrible Bret Hart-Vince McMahon match at WrestleMania.
That's it?
Yeah, I think that was the pinnacle of it all.
But they weren't, you know what I mean? If they were as good as they could have been, they'd still be champions today, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, you had Tyson Kidd in there, and, like... But, and you're probably thinking, okay, well, that's it. There's going to be no more Hart Foundation, that's... We'll leave it there, whatever. No, this is the fucking best.
Love it.
Teddy Hart, right, is unreal. Teddy Hart is, like... He just doesn't give a fuck. He'll come out, he'll do a moonsault, and just, like, he'll come out, calm as fuck, petting his cats, doesn't give a shit, and then he'll wrestle a match like the most fuck-off indie match you've ever seen in your life. He's doing flips, destroyers, moonsaults, everything, and he's so good to watch. Like, have you seen their finisher?
No.
So, Davey Boy Smith puts the opponent on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Teddy Hart goes onto the top turnbuckle, jumps onto the opponent that's on Davy's shoulders, does a destroyer off his shoulders onto the ground. It is so slick. If you haven't seen it, please look it up.
I need to look that up.
It is so fucking good. And they won the titles, and I'm buzzing, and I'm so happy. And I think these lads are going to have a big 2019. I really do think they will. Teddy Hart is basically Nicola, if Nicola could moonsault. Like, that's something that just dawned on me as well. It's like...
I've heard Teddy Hart interviewed, man. I don't know.
No, Teddy Hart, like, in MLW, that's what he is.
Right.
And then another thing I completely forgot about, they had an interaction with MJF, who's been injured. MJF was the middleweight champion. Which Teddy Hart is now also, he's the middleweight champion as well. He won that earlier, so he's got 2 titles. 2-title Teddy, with the fucking titles on his shoulders, yeah? And MJF comes up to them and he's, they're talking shit to each other. They're both heels, right? And I love this because I fucking hate in wrestling, right? The way 2 faces, and like all the faces are pals, all the heels are pals. And why? What connections do they have with each other? Do you know what I mean? Why are they pals? And these 2, they're not pals. They hate each other. They're talking shit. I'm like, oh, who do I... Well, I'm cheering Teddy Hart for Teddy Hart. But, like, the point is, you know what I mean? For anyone else, like, who do you cheer in that situation? They're both... It's like, who's the lesser of the 2 evils? Or I don't know, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like... Also, Teddy Hart versus MJF is a fucking good match as well. Like, it's so... I'm just so excited. I fucking love the Hart Foundation. And they're the tag champs now. And it's just... It's so good.
Of all the things, since you've been pimping MLW the past few weeks, of all the things you've said... The new Hart Foundation,
it's just the Hart Foundation, it's not even the new Hart
Foundation.
Foundation.
But the fact that they've created that and that lineup as well, the way there's a legitimacy to it, like that's a big get for them. That's pretty class.
I say it so often, I'm going to say it again, I don't care. It is the most underrated, by far, the most underrated fucking show, like globally speaking. And like all this talk of AEW, that's obviously not going to help, but it's like AEW, Impact and New Japan, nobody's talking about MLW. It's so fucking good, and I recommend it to everyone.
And it's all out there on YouTube for free as well.
On YouTube.
There you go, check it out, guys. That's interesting. If you're into Teddy Hart, the best wrestling podcast I've ever listened to is Teddy Hart's interview with Chris Jericho. It's a while back, but it is worth going out your way. On the bus home tonight. Have you ever heard it?
No.
It's amazing. Like, within 5 minutes, he's like, and then I beat up a homeless guy, and then I did some heroin, and like, I got a cat hair allergy, and then blah, blah, blah. he gives the most fucked up, crazy account of his life, and then after 5 minutes of all him talking, where Chris Jericho just asked, how are you doing? Chris is just like, wow.
I just love
and it continues for like an hour and a half, and then the end it's like Teddy Hart like trying to get a job from Chris Jericho after basically giving him all of his problems and why he can never be hired in any high profile capacity. He's then like, I think if I came back to WWE, you could put in a word for me. And it's just like, oh my god, like, don't say this on a podcast.
I would watch Raw if he was on it.
He has zero self-awareness. And it's amazing. It's fantastic. I love it.
He's had like fucking... I've heard stories of him like refusing to wrestle if he couldn't bring his cats to the promotion and all that. That's amazing. This man's amazing. Like the shit, it's the way he talks as well. It's his cadence or something about him that I really like as well. It's just... He talks really fast, but it's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm very straight to the point. He's like Lance Storm on acid. Like, that's literally how he talks. And the shit he comes out with, like, it's perfect. Also, loosely related to MLW, Jimmy Havoc got signed by AEW.
Yes.
Worth mentioning. There's 2 things I want to mention. I know I'll complete overload,
go for it.
But it's happened last minute. First of all, Jimmy Havoc, AEW, that's steady. He's also not being taken off MLW, according to them on Twitter, which is great.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of signings and debuts and stuff, Morgan Hype are debuting in ICW, and I am very excited for that. So just throwing in some honourable mentions.
No, that's fair enough. No, they're all worth mentioning as well. That's huge for Morgan Hype. They're going to be everywhere this time next year.
Wait.
Like, it's fantastic. And they deserve it. Like, they're putting on, like, next level matches. Like, some of the stuff they're doing in Ireland with Irish competitors, is like breathtaking. It's like, I haven't seen wrestling like this. It's like an evolution of wrestling. It's like fucking a really, really good video game, except it's all happening and they're doing the athleticism. So to see them, now we get to watch them mix it up with the world's best, amazing.
It's the chemistry as well, do you know what I mean? It's such like a flow to what they do. I love it. I just fucking love it.
And the way, like, you're like, they actually are best mates. Like, they're just... Do you know what I thought of as well, though? Like,
imagine they hate each other.
This is like, here's something I thought of, and I know it's been a rough week with the Armstrongs and stuff.
Don't.
One day, somewhere, they're going to split up.
And our next one is from NJPW. Hey.
And think about how like devastating that's going to be.
Japan.
I'm just saying.
You shouldn't have enjoyed Naito and Taichi, is that it?
He's reading my notes. All right, I'll move on. I'm just saying. I'm going to split up one day.
There's nothing you need to say. It's fine. Let's move on.
In at number 4, one from New Japan, which keeps after giving away. New beginning. Yeah, look, don't go out of your way to see it. It was a bit of a letdown. Like I said, New Japan is getting weird. It's just because of their roster problems and they don't know where they are or what's going on. They're kind of reshaping it. But there was one thing, like, I was looking at Naito and Taichi last week for the Intercontinental title, and I'm like, like, that's just not, like, the level of main event I look for out of New Japan. Like, it's just, they're literally plugging in, like, kind of their mid-card lads who are just a filler on most shows into main event spots, like, because they need to get matches out of this. But you know what? The lads stepped up. They stepped up to the challenge, and it was amazing because it's like, all right, we've got big expectations. We've got a big role to fill. Let's fucking do this. The match started with Iizuka coming out. Just a big fuck off. He's an L lad, like in New Japan, but like came out, destroyed Naito as he's making his entrance. Absolutely battered him. Now, something I love about New Japan that they'll do a bit differently to WWE. WWE is very... You can tell the pacing of it. So if they do an injury angle, say someone's getting stretchered off, like, and it's like, well, I guess they're out of the match. You know, you're like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 3, 2, 1. Oh, they're coming back now, and you're like, right, yeah. I'm just used to WWE and their pacing and this and that, and I suppose it has to be that way with time limits and whatnot. New Japan don't have that. So, like, what happened is, Naito went to the back, and in New Japan, if you forfeit a match or if you, like, if you can't answer the bell, Taichi would have been the champion. So, Naito had to come back out or he was losing the Intercontinental title. They kept it going for like 5 minutes. Like, Taichi looked bored in the ring. Like, at the start, he starts like just posing to the crowd. Like, he's like a SmackDown wrestler doing poses. You know what I mean? He's like a video game. He's just like doing random poses to the crowd. And then in the end, he's just like sitting in the ring. He's like, what's going on? And you're genuinely like, oh, like, they're doing a forfeit. Like, do you remember, I'll give you a good example of New Japan's pacing. Do you remember when they did the firing squads? When Tamatonga and Co took out like the Bullet Club and they did that big angle. Do you know the way it went on for ages to the point where JR is like, this has gone on for a long time. A lot of us could just go home. But it was great because it threw you off beat. It's like, is something else going to happen? Like, why are they drawing this out? That's what they did here. Like 5 minutes. And then eventually Naito limps back up to the ring. And like, he does. They have a proper match. But like Naito's struggling from underneath. And you're like, Taichi's winning this. Like, they're getting the belt off Naito. They want him in the main title picture. Like, that's what's happening here. But then they actually did a thing where Naito came back, and then Naito was on top, and then you're like, right, Naito's winning this. He's hit a Destino. 1, 2. Taichi just kicked out of the Destino. That's fucking Naito's finisher. Like, Taichi doesn't get to kick out of that. He's just a fucking mid-carder. What is this fucking match? Who's winning? Got me really up. And considering where I was last week with this match, where I'm just like, meh, it's a match that's definitely happening. This actually got me really up on Sunday morning. It was fantastic. It's well worth a watch. The last New Beginning show, if you're keeping an eye out, is on Monday morning at 8 a.m. It's New Beginning in Osaka. It's got Taiji Ishimori defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title against Taguchi. Bit of a placeholder match, but then again, I would have said that about Naito Taichi last week, so maybe reason for optimism there. Okada is wrestling Bad Luck Fale, which it's grand in the G1 when they do that, because Fale wrestles everyone. They tend to be good because you never know if he's winning or losing. Okada's probably going to win that. Like, I don't know. But then the main event is the match they've been building towards, and we've spoken about it a lot on the show before. Hiroshi Tanahashi defends the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Switchblade Jay White. Generally, it's one of these situations, like kind of like Jay White against Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, where you're like, it'd be weird if Jay White lost here. Like, because they built him up so much that to just have him lose, they can't have him beat a Bray Wyatt. And they corrected that a lot by having him beat Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. But they can't have him beat a Bray Wyatt character where he loses all the big matches he's in. But Tanahashi has just won the belt. Like, I don't know. There's a small chance of a title change here. It has happened, like Okada's first title reign, I think, happened at New Beginning, and it happened out of nowhere. No one expected him. He was just kind of in a similar position to Jay White, where it's like, oh, they obviously have high hopes for this guy, but like he's not going to be champion. Or, oh shit, he's the champion. He's the new guy. So maybe it could happen. Worth an eye anyway. Monday, 8 a.m. If you're off work, I'm going to be watching it live. We'll probably live tweet it as well, so check that out. In at number 3, let's talk about the good from Phoenix, the stuff that didn't depress you.
Yeah, there was an amazing last man standing match. It was Terry Thatcher and Anita Vaughn. That was not Anita Vaughn, actually. It was Ricky Graham. All three. Read my notes kind of arseways there.
Keith's doing a Ron Burgundy with the notes this week.
But if anyone does want to book Terry Thatcher versus Anita Vaughn in a last man woman standing match, by all means, sure. I wouldn't be against it. But anyway, yeah. Ricky Graham, Terry Thatcher, last man standing match. It was great. Terry Thatcher, basically, for the duration of the match, was getting his leg ripped apart by Ricky Graham. Ricky Graham came in with a game plan. He went with it, and I really, really, really enjoyed this match. You can't really imagine Terry Thatcher losing a last man standing match. It's like the one match where you're like, he has to get up. Do you know what I mean? It's Terry fucking Thatcher.
Yeah.
But then it's still that moment where you're like, but how can he get up? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got hit with this, that, and everything else. How can Terry Thatcher get up from that?
Nice.
Ricky Graham, he's a bigger man as well, and it did look like he was going to get the win at one point, and it was really well done. And Terry Thatcher he just will not give up, and he stood his ground, and it was just fucking amazing, and I loved it. It was a great end to the feud. I thought the payoff was really good, basically.
Nice.
And Anita Vaughn is on my notes because she made her debut against Amy Lonzi. She basically replaced Katie Harvey. And I thought she did great. And I can't wait to see more Phoenix Wrestling trainees sort of coming through the ranks.
Yeah. They've got such a good hit rate as well. Like, people they bring out, like, you know, you have the Armstrongs, of course, Billy Bedlam, you have Steve Savage, you have,
Raven Creed.
Raven Creed, yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, it's like the one blatantly obvious one.
Yeah, the biggest one, obviously, yeah, but, like, they've such a good hit rate as well. Like, we don't see it as much because they're still building up that kind of, they're still building up the scene in Cork, so they don't have kind of, say, the legacy the Fight Factory has, but their hit rate is like 100%, so excellent. If I hear someone coming out of Phoenix, I take that very seriously. So keep an ear open for Anita Vaughn, then, you're saying?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, excellent. Then, moving on to number 2, one from both Raw and SmackDown. Last week, we gave them credit for the Becky Ronda stuff. Obviously, Becky winning the Rumble is one of the most iconic moments in Low Blows Party's history, and deservedly so. But then the Becky Ronda promo afterwards sold us. They kept it strong. Like, look, it's going to end up being a triple threat. We need to accept that this is happening. They're going to include Charlotte in it, but I'm okay with how they're doing it and how they're going about it. They started Raw with Becky against Stephanie. Look, we've seen this kind of segment a million times, just not with Becky. But the Beckiness of it made it fresh and interesting and new. Stephanie came out and she's like, you need to go to the doctor. If you don't go to the doctor, we have to suspend you. You need to be medically cleared. I want to see this match. Becky's like, no, I see what's happening. You're trying to keep me down again. And it was like, it's where they established like why they're doing the knee injury is because they're playing off the fact that last time Becky was set to face Ronda, obviously she ended up getting hurt and she doesn't want to go see the doctor because that'll happen again. Such a simple storyline, playing off the bit of real life as well. Absolute genius. I love every second of this because it's like, it is playing on legitimate concerns. In the end of it, Becky's like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're going for. Stephanie's like, I'm not doing it and I want to see this match. But Becky, if you're not going to go, are you going to go to the doctor? Becky doesn't even, this is what I loved about it. She doesn't even like say no on the mic. She's not like wrestler. Like, she's like, no. She doesn't do that. She just looks, she's tears in her eyes, and she just gently shakes her head. Like, she's so vulnerable in that moment, but she's also, like, she's being badass and kind of the Conor McGregor gimmick that she's channeling, like, throughout all this, the man stuff. But, like, that bit of vulnerability made me attached to her so much more, because I'm just like, oh, Becky, don't cry. You know what I mean? You're like, you genuinely feel it. Her acting is A1 here. And then Becky says, I'm not, or then she says to Stephanie, she's like, Stephanie, if you say that, I'm not responsible for what I do. Stephanie tells her she's suspended. Becky beats the shit out of Stephanie. It was fantastic. Then you have all the security guards coming in. Becky starts beating the shit out of them as well. It's like, yes, I love every second of this. Pure Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon. but they're executing it so well, and Becky is doing so well, you don't care. Then, SmackDown, Charlotte starts to show off, pure heel as well, comes out, points to the WrestleMania sign. I think I saw Matthew on Twitter was like, look at Charlotte pointing to the kickoff show sign. But Jarrett points to the WrestleMania sign. She says, you know what, Becky can't do it. If you need someone to step up WWE, I'm here. I want to face Ronda. She's never beat me, all this, blah, blah, blah. I'm okay with Charlotte being added to this match. And the reason is, like, if you think about it, really, Becky Ronda is the match we want. And I would prefer to see that if you gave me a choice between that and a three-way. But also, I think about, this is going to be the last match at Mania. It's going to be the first ever women's WrestleMania main event. Charlotte does deserve to be there on merit. They wouldn't be there without her. Like, I think she deserves to be in there, no matter what.
For what? For losing the last man standing match to Becky? For what? Why does she deserve to be there? The reality is she's just not as good as either of those two. So I don't know. I think it would be a better match though. I will say that. I think it'd be like, I love triple threats. I think they're the most entertaining shit.
Yeah.
So I mean. The match would almost definitely be better, I feel.
Yeah, with Charlotte, isn't it? Yeah.
But I just want Becky versus Ronda. I just think it'd be killed.
I do want. Look, I would take that over it, but I'm okay with it. I've made my peace with this being a three-way because it's where it's going. And then as she's pointing to the sign, there's a crowd disturbance underneath the sign. Becky walks out. Charlotte is trying to keep up with Becky on the mic, and it's my only kind of gripe with this feud because she just can't. Like, she's trying to get into little smart shoe comments and stuff like that, and she's like, "Oh, first you're stealing my spotlight, now you're stealing Roman Reigns' entrance." And it's like, Charlotte, you're not cool enough to be like no one's gonna go, "Ooh," to something you say. You're too establishment. You're not that person. Becky limps into the ring, and then she's like, "I see what's going on here." Blah blah blah. They end up getting in a screaming match. Triple H interrupts. And tells Charlotte to get out of the ring. She's not helping the situation. Becky, you need to go home. You need to get checked by the doctor. Right, that's it. Game over. As Triple H is getting out of the ring, Becky's like, "How's Stephanie? Has she got checked by the doctor?" Brilliant. Loved it. Triple H comes back in and, like, just cuts a fantastic promo. Like, this is Triple H. Do you remember I was saying, like, you can hate a Triple H, like, you can hate the idea of Triple H being involved in something. And if I'd have told you 2 weeks ago Triple H is going to be involved in the Becky Ronda feud, like, not you, but, like, a lot of people probably would have been like, "Oh, no, don't let him." But then he cuts a promo, and you're like, he's great. He's fucking amazing. He did one of those promos where he just, like, filled out the scene, and it's like, Becky, like, I understand this. I've seen you before. I bought into the man thing. I bought into the hype. I was going with it, but now, staring across from you, I see what you are. You're another person who's afraid of success. You're just one of these people who talks the big game, but then you get to the big game, and you don't want it. The reason you don't want to get checked out, be honest, is because there's nothing wrong with your knee. You're fine. You want to be suspended. You want to be a martyr. You want to be a victim. That's what you want. And then Becky as well, like, she's still looking, like, her acting here is so perfect because she's looking wounded by all this. She's not choosing to be, like, getting in his face and be like, "Fuck you, I'm this, I'm that." She's looking like he's hitting home with a lot of his points, and it's like, that makes me, like, it's a left turn where I expect her to go right, and that left turn makes me think of, what is Becky thinking? And I'm like, this is hitting home. She is insecure about failing. She is doing this. So what that's doing is giving me so much depth to this storyline. Just a little tiny decision she's making is giving me depth to this storyline where I'm like, and then I'm like, what if Becky lost? What if she did lose? How heartbreaking but poetically beautiful would that be? Like, people
wouldn't be poetically beautiful.
people would riot. But what if the story was Becky was afraid of success? Was afraid of success. We've never seen that told in WWE, like on a WrestleMania scale. It always ends with the hero getting their win. And we'd riot, we'd go insane. But, like, if you do that right, that could be, like, it's an original storyline. And it's true to life. What happens in sports? What happens in, like, football where, like, you get this dream team coming up and it's like they're in the final. This is it. And sometimes they just lose 4-0. Sometimes they just shit the bed. And then you're left with the conclusion that, like, oh, like, that's not what I wanted to see. But sports can be cruel sometimes. And that somehow makes it more poignant when I do get those big moments. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just saying that it's got me thinking, whatever they've done this week has got me thinking of all angles and all perspectives. Whereas, like, I think 6 weeks of Becky and Ronda jawing. And by the way, shout out to Ronda in the back. they did a little promo as Becky's been escorted out on Raw, and Ronda came back and just bullied her and was just a little dickhead to her, and then came out and did an entrance for a match where she was putting on her Disney face and smile, and you're like, there's two sides to Ronda. There's like her in the back where she's a little arrogant fuck thinking she's better than everyone else, and then there's hey, the fans, I'm just going to shake hands with everybody. And it was a really interesting juxtaposition. I'm just saying, this storyline, if they keep up at this pace, this could be one of the best ever WrestleMania storylines. I'm loving everything they're doing here. Big fan. Anyway, in at number 1, I'm not going to stay too long on this because the point is it's great and you should just check it out. NXT. I loved Halftime Heat. Have you got a chance to watch it yet?
No.
Do. By the way, if anyone's scared of it like I was, it's not a 6.5 hour show. They have it up on WWE's YouTube, but like they did a 6 hour marathon, and you can just skip to 6 hours, and it's at the very end of that. All right, so if anyone's looking, because I was like, I'm not gonna watch 6 hours. What the fuck did you do, lads? No, it's literally one match. So it's Ciampa, Gargano, and Adam Cole against Velveteen Dream, Aleister Black, and Ricochet. Genius idea for a start. In the Super Bowl, I went out with Lowe's I went out with Jimmy Malloy, good old JM, Lowe's Hall of Famer, Keith Edwards, and Keith Hanley as well. So we went out to watch the Super Bowl. Hanley's there watching it on his mobile the entire time. Loads of people were really invested in this, and it's a great advertisement because it's like, actually, yeah, I would actually rather, like, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl, but I would rather watch wrestling at halftime than, like, fucking Maroon 5. So I love it, and I love the way they did it with NXT. And then the lads wrestled this like an advertisement for NXT, where it was both, do you remember the Shield 6-man tags? Where they were just great tags. It was just back and forth action non-stop, like. It was just spot, but it was all coherent at the same time. Well, it was like that mixed with like an NXT ladder match or something where they're just doing fucking crazy shit constantly. It was fantastic from bell to bell. Half an hour of great action. It is well worth going out of your way to see. For me, and think about the amount I talked about the Becky storyline, I'm putting it above it. It is well worth your time. Genius idea by WWE. Great way of capturing the zeitgeist and just being relevant at a good time. Loved it. So yeah, check that out. That was the week that was in the ring. This week on the Low Blows Network, the Spandex Pantomime returned. With Ask Justy Shy. 4 minutes of which, by the way, was devoted to your question.
Yeah, I mean, you have to ask, we have to ask, and that's just what happens. Did you actually, for anyone who's listening to it, and do check it out, it's on Spotify, iTunes, Patreon, all for free, by the way, now. As are all our shows, guys, if you want to check it out. Did you get a chance to, did you actually, write that out, or did you copy and paste it? Copy and paste from what?
I don't know, I was surely he didn't write, you wrote, 4 pages worth.
Yeah.
A full storyline.
Yeah. Well, I can't copy and paste from anywhere. It's an original piece.
Oh, that's what I'm asking. It was a total original piece.
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
20 minutes. It takes me 5 hours to dry my hair, and I was bored, and I was on my phone. I was like, might as well just do that.
I love it. There, check that out anyway. Justy gets into stuff like who is the biggest penis in Irish wrestling. You get an actual answer.
Yeah.
If he could cast an Irish wrestling sitcom, and loads of stuff. We have part 2 of that coming up on Monday, so stay tuned for that. The one with the podcast as well is out. We have Paddy's New Yacht coming up later this week, where we're going to be looking back on the heartbreak that was the Six Nations at the weekend. Ireland absolutely shitting the bed against England. We're going to be looking back on that, and the absolutely shocking Super Bowl. We're going to be slagging the shit out of that. It was awful. Cian, I know I was telling you to like American football. You were lucky you didn't this season. The Super Bowl was fucking shocking. It was awful. We're going to be looking back at that and giving our picks for the Premier League, and also Ask Low Blows, where we'll be killing off Irish wrestlers left, right and centre, because Justy's after getting onto us, and he's just in one of those moods. So anyway, check all that out on, like I said, on Patreon, on Spotify, and on iTunes, all for free. Guys, it takes a lot of work to put this together, so please show support by donating whatever you can to patreon.com/#lowblows. If you need to donate €2-3 a month, that still helps. So get involved and sign up, and you can get it all on your podcast player, however you listen to them. Then next week, wrestling's about to go mental in Ireland. First off, it starts on the 15th of February in the Big Sean, Fight Factory Episode 7. We didn't think it had happened for a good while. We've been away for a long while. So to get back into GM mode, some of the matches we have announced so far, this is going to be... I think people are sleeping on how good this match could be. This is like potential Irish match of the year all over it. Valkyrie defends the Irish Junior Heavyweight Championship against LJ Cleary and Michael May. It's basically a mini Grapple Games match. We remember how good that match was. So check that out. I'm not sure. Valkyrie's reign could stop at one title defense, because both of those guys are really hungry and to be interested. This is another potential show stealer. Dmitry Krakovich takes on Sean Guinness. Dmitry has been knocking on the door for a good while, so I'm giving him a big match. Sean Guinness, one of the best wrestlers ever in Ireland. Dimitri's being called one of the best young talents and stuff like that. I think it's time to put that to the test. Let's see how he steps up against Sean Guinness, if he can hold his own. Then a match I just said fuck it and booked because I want to see it. The Irish Tag Team Champions, more than hyped, defend against the mid-card Mafia. Just because we just want to see it. Sometimes as a GM you're like, what's the best thing that will draw an audience? Sometimes you just say fuck it. That's why I said this. And yeah, we all want to see it, so who cares? And then the new number one contenders will be decided as Club Rock Shandy take on The Enterprise and Big Rab and Justin Daniels. Corporate Keen's favourite new tag team, I think, on the scene. Would you say so?
Yeah.
Now the Armstrongs are gone.
Need to bring that up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think they're going to do it. I think they could possibly do this.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like, it's two homegrown teams. Well, three homegrown teams, but two of them have, like, come from Fight Factory school to establish themselves as two of the best tag teams in Ireland, and then just put one fucking wild card in there, like, that are really dangerous and could just fuck shit up. Like, both teams will be, like, everyone's going to be like, Club Rock Shandy, we want to see them get back in the tag team mix. The Enterprise have been knocking on the door for so long, but then there's Big Rob and Justin, and they could just take everyone by surprise when no one's expecting it, so check that out. We'll be announcing more matches next week, so keep an eye out for that. Then, on February 17th, you've got Volta against Pac, so that's going to be alright too. Maybe the last ever NXT UK versus AEW match. Could easily be. I don't think there's that many of them happening anymore. WWE are being very protective, so check that out in the National Basketball Arena. Then Low Blows the day after, just recover from the hangover, come down to Buskers on the Ball and watch Elimination Chamber. Avoid spoilers for our No Spoiler Monday. It is on, the pay-per-view will start at 7 p.m. You get to get last bus home. No Temple Bar prices on booze. Keep an eye on our Facebook event for more as it's released. And then the following Friday, Low Blows Ruin Wrestling. It's basically like a pilot episode for how me and Corporate Keen, that's a good way of putting it, how we see wrestling. We have one night in the Button Factory, filling it up with largely Irish talent. We have to try sell an over 18 show in Dublin City, or there may never be more over 18 shows in Dublin City with the venue crisis.
I can't wait to just fucking ruin everything.
We're just going to ruin it all. But I'm happy with our card because we have Club Rock Shandy against Matt Schuyler and Lucky Kid. That match, that's got potential match of the year all over. Like, these guys are going to kill it. You've got Retro Galactic against the Nightmare Edition. Keen put out a meme there which basically summed up your logic in booking this match.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
Do you want to explain it for anyone who hasn't seen it?
No. This ruins it. Do you know what I mean? It's a visual thing, like.
Yeah, we just said fuck it and Retro Galactic.
It was funny.
Good look at that.
That's
This is it. Tucker takes on WZW star Avalanche. Tucker, being called the King of Courage for so long, put it to the test because his kingdom may fall at the hands of an Avalanche. The Bobby Guns Open Challenge.
Did you say WCW superstar?
WZW.
Oh, okay.
I nearly said WWE, but then I said WZW.
Right.
Maybe I did. Maybe people are like, no, you clearly said WCW, but I meant to say WZW.
You mean WXW?
Shit. Who are WZW?
No one.
There's WrestleZone Wrestling. They're a thing.
Who?
WXW. Thank God you're on commentary. Speaking of
I
W,
was like, is this you trying to be all fancy and like German? Are you pronouncing it like? It's like they call it VXV over there. So I'm like, is that what he was going for?
in Germany we pronounce X as a Z. I don't know why I'm Borat either.
I don't know.
Just keep me away from these imports. I'm going to offend them. We have WXW star Bobby Guns. He's taking on an open challenge against one of the young guns from the Irish scene. Still to be decided, guys. Let us know who you want to see, and they may get a shot. And then Luther Valentine takes on Alexander Dean in a match both men are really happy with and cannot wait for.
The anticipation.
There definitely will not be any stiff shots be thrown in that match. Anyway, we have one big announcement still to come this week, because we have the first ever match from the mind of Corporate Cian, an original match style we've never seen before. We're going to be revealing all on Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. But we're going to give away something from the match. So Corporate Cian, I'll leave it to you since this is your brainchild.
Yeah, it's the Fullgate match. And that's it. So we'll see you. We'll be announcing it. We say tomorrow, maybe.
We're looking at announcing Thursday evening on Twitter.
Yeah. So
keep an eye there.
Well, I don't make any guarantees, but that's what we're aiming for. So yeah, keep an eye out.
The
definitely.
first ever Floodgate match. But what is that? What does that mean?
Could mean anything.
And not it's not going to be like, there won't be dead hookers. Like in CZW.
Will there not?
WZW, I think, are mad for the Floodgate match. Keep an eye out for that. I cannot wait for that. That's going to be a highlight. Anyway, guys, that's all we have time for.
What about Queen versus Cian? Did Katie wipe her ass successfully? Did she?
You can text her and ask her if you want.
I'm going to assume she didn't, so I'd like a point, please.
No,
8-6.
you're still losing
8-6.
8-5. You're still losing 8-5.
8-6, but whatever.
We may, who knows? Katie Harvey is recovering really quickly, so we may be seeing her back in the very near future, and we can resume Queen versus Cian. Subscribe to Corporate Cian on YouTube for more of his stuff if you want to get involved. For example, you're going to see the Floodgate match tomorrow. You get all that. Keep an eye on Twitter and whatnot. But Cian, to wrap us off here, because we don't have any Queen versus Cian, last week you put out a call for people to view your video because you hadn't got many clicks on it. Long story short, it's about WWE fan fiction, erotic fan fiction. So, in a plea to kind of get more clicks on your video, you're gonna read us out on this week's Low Blows with another story that didn't make the cut in the video. But until next week, for Corporate Cian, I've been Rick Nash, and that's the bottom line, because Low Blows said so. Whenever you're ready, Cian.
My bus is at 20-10, and we still have Ask Low Blows left, but that doesn't mean I don't have time for Broken Out in Love by Jack Valentine. The creaks of the ridiculously old, rust-eaten camp cot filled the room, floating in the air. Crawled through Harper's ears and right into his brain. They seemed to scratch his cerebellum and swayed the hemispheres, taking over his conscious and subconscious, blurring his mind, mixing his thoughts like an annoying buzzing of a fly that wouldn't let you sleep at night. Luke rocked to the side, as if he was trying to shake the sounds off his head, and felt it go round. Even though he was laid down, he was panting and sweating. He was hot, infernally hot, like he was having some sort of a fever. Harper was gasping for air, not being able to breathe in deeply, as Rowan, on top of Luke, was skewering him too hard and too fast. Eric's eyes were closed and obviously could not control the tempo. He was slowing down and speeding up while Harper was just moving his hips back and forth, happy-go-lucky, so they were completely out of sync. Do I have to go much further with this?
No, let's just leave it there.